On episode 238 of the Peak Performance Leadership Podcast, I go solo again, and I'm going to confess, I screwed up. And here's what I learned about it. Are you ready for this? All right, let's do it. Welcome one, welcome all to the Peak Performance Leadership Podcast, a weekly podcast series dedicated to helping you hit peak performance across the three domains of leadership. Those being leading yourself, leading your team, and leading your organization. This podcast couples my 20 years of military experience as a senior Canadian Army officer with world-class guests to bring you the most complete podcast of leadership going. And for more, feel free to check out our website at movingforwardleadership.com. And with that, let's get to the show. Yes, welcome one, welcome all to the Peak Performance Leadership Podcast. It is your Chief Leadership Officer, Scott McCarthy. And thanks for coming out. It's so good to have one and all of you with me on this journey of being the best leader that we can be across those three domains, those being leading yourself, leading your team, and leading your organization. And I just said that leadership's a journey. It is a journey. It is not a destination. There is no end goal here per se, because real leaders basically never stop, especially when you look at those three domains, right? Leading yourself. You don't stop leading yourself. Leading your team. You don't stop leading your team. If you look at everybody who touches you as team members, and then we are always part of an organization, whether that is at work or if you look at your home, that is an organization as well. And I'll tell you, the reason why I am really harping on leadership is a journey is because sometimes the journey goes backwards to go further forward. Or sometimes you gotta make a left turn accidentally and then you get back on track. And I'm going to get real with you in this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get a bit vulnerable, and I'm going to peel back the curtain to say, I'm not perfect. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time and you think that I think I am perfect, I have given you the wrong impression. I make mistakes, and recently I had the mirror placed up in front of me and had it basically smashed into my face. And I don't say that with jest or jokingly to the point where I think it is a joke. I do not, but rather that is the mental image I have in my head and how I deserve it. So let's go back a little bit. I talked about leadership as a journey, but as well, in the Leader Growth Mastermind, one of the exercises that I have new members do is their leader core values. And this is where you go through a list of values and you basically break it down and determine which ones are your core ones, the ones that mean the most to you. And then I have the members write out a leader being statement, how they are going to lead based off of these core values. It's a very simple but yet powerful exercise because it enables you to understand, who you are as an individual, but most importantly as a leader, and enables you to make decisions based off of these values that align up with who you are as a person. So, it's been brought to my attention. It was brought to my attention by my supervisor that I didn't live up to one of my values in the recently passed, I would say. In fact, I completely and utterly obliterated living up to that value, I would say, in this particular instant. And I'm not going to go into the details of the incident because, well, they're irrelevant. And two, out of respect of the individuals involved, I won't do so. So it's quite vague, but who cares? It doesn't matter. So that core value that I obliterated at that incident was respect. So I was quite disrespectful to a group of individuals. And basically, it got shown back in my face. And once I got confronted on it by my supervisor, holy smokes, it nailed me like a ton of bricks when I realized what had happened. So, that being said, what did I go through? So I'm going to tell you what you're going to go through when you make a similar mistake. And if you're any type of leader, one who is humble, one who wants to learn, one who wants to grow, one who wants to do their best, you will likely go through something similar. And I will tell you, imposter syndrome was fourth and foremost. Actually, before imposter syndrome hit me, I will tell you there was a bit of shame in that I was like, wow, I can't believe I actually did that. And in talking with my supervisor, my boss, and I was basically ashamed of myself there with him. And I said, yeah, I did do that. Wow. What was I thinking that day? Why did I do such and such a thing? Following that was a heavy imposter syndrome. Who the hell am I? How do I go get off in doing that? How do I go and run a podcast about being the best leader you can be when here I am acting like an arrogant boss in this circumstance? And I went through that imposter syndrome for a while, for a good few hours, for sure. And it took a little bit of work for me to snap out. In fact, it probably took me till the next day until I got out of it. But here's what I didn't do. And this is my advice to you, the leader, when you fail, because you will fail. We all fail. The next thing I did was I reflected. I put my fingers to the keyboard and basically wrote a little journal article on my own reflections of why I did the things I did and where I failed. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the kicker. What am I going to do to fix it? What am I going to do differently? You see, people can, within reason, accept mistakes. And even my boss said to me, he's like, in the grand scheme of things, this is not big. But this is a learning moment for you if you choose it to be. And that's what I basically took it as after. So what am I going to do differently the next time this type of situation comes up? And that is where I placed the bulk of my basically thoughts and time. I identified my failures, yes, for sure. I thought about what transpired, absolutely. But here's the kicker. What am I going to do differently? And that is what people are looking for. People will forgive you if you screw up, especially if you own it. What they won't do is forgive you if you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So, when you screw up, when you make a mistake, when you fail as a leader, because we all do, take time and go, what will I do different next time? And if you've been following me, and I talked about the after action review sometimes on the show. This is basically it. What happened, why it happened, what to do differently. And basically, that is what I did. And that is actually what I'm still doing. I'm not done my after action review yet. I still have some more reflection to do. I still need to put my fingers to the keyboards. But I tell you, I feel a hell of a lot better. And I am confident that the next time I am faced with a scenario similar to this one, that I won't screw up next time. I won't make the same mistake. And I definitely as hell will not go against one of my core values, and especially that one of being respect. So, ladies and gentlemen, my question to you is, what are you going to do when you screw up? How are you going to handle it? You can wallow in self-pity, or you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, figure out what you did wrong, why you did it, and then most importantly, what are you going to do next time? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is today's episode. So, best of luck to you out there, the leader. It ain't easy. But you know what? It's 100% worth it. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember as always, lead, don't boss, and take care now. And that's a wrap for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the Peak Performance Leadership Podcast. But you know what you could do to truly support the podcast? And no, that's not leaving a rating and review. It's simply helping a friend. And that is helping a friend by sharing this episode with them if you think this would resonate with them and help them elevate their performance level, whether that's within themselves, their teams, or their organization. So do that, help me, help a friend, win-win all around, and hey, you look like a great friend at the same time. So just hit that little share button on your app, and then feel free to fire this episode to anyone that you feel would benefit from it. Finally, there's always more. There's always more lessons around being the highest performing leader that you can possibly be, whether that's for yourself, your team, or your organization. So why don't you subscribe? Subscribe to the show via movingforwardleadership.com/subscribe. And until next time, lead, don't boss, and thanks for coming out. Take care now.